Thursday. So if you follow me or been following me for a while, you know that every Thursday I was going live for a while to kind of bless you guys with at least 3 new nuggets to think about, whether in your business or your personal life. Excuse me. But I took a break. Life happened. Life was lifing. But my special guest has been holding me accountable to creating a personal brand, so to speak. And I do really feel like I'm in a season of my life to teach. So for those of you that are new to my page, or maybe you're watching this live because it was shared on someone else's page, I'm Lacey. I'm a copywriter. And so for those of you that don't know what a copywriter is, I actually specialize in figuring out how to write words to get people to take action. Whether that action is getting them to follow your page, getting them to swipe their card to make a purchase, getting them to join your Facebook group. Whatever action it is that you need people to take, I specialize in figuring out how to write those words to really evoke emotion to get people to do what it is we want to inspire them to do. So I always get a lot of people in my inbox that are asking me like, hey, I created a website. Hey, I launched a program. I've been in this game for a while. I'm trying to start a business, but I put something out in the world and no one is really purchasing it, or I'm not getting the traction that I thought that I would be able to get, because I know this is a program, a service, a book, a course, fill in the blank that I know that the world needs. But for whatever reason, I can't get people to raise their hand or open their wallets. So I was kind of bouncing off this idea with a counterpart of mine, our special guest for tonight. And she's like, hey, let's just go live and do a masterclass, quick, kind of dirty, 20, 30 minutes, give people some value, especially if they're sitting in that space. So if you guys joined my masterclass last Wednesday, drop in the comments that you were there. Let me know how that was. My masterclass, if you missed it, the replay is available. Just send me a DM. We covered the ins and outs of getting started in the copywriting world. So for those of you that aren't aware of my story, I've been a copywriter for 12 years now. I kind of stumbled upon it one night looking at Craigslist job openings out of all places. But I'm always a big proponent of, one of my missions in my life is to diversify copywriting. And I want every child or adult to know that copywriting is an option if they're really looking for a way to create sustainable, consistent, high earning revenue for themselves or income for themselves, and to have work-life balance, because I'm all about that. So without further ado, last Wednesday's masterclass was all about how to get into the world of copywriting. Today, we're going to focus on the ins and outs of a launch. So what happens if you launched or you're planning on launching and you want to make sure you do it right? So we are talking about the secrets behind closed wallets. So 5 things your customers are saying when they actually don't buy from you. So I wanted to make sure you don't just get my genius. So you kind of get a 2-for-1 with this live. So I'm going to bring up my special guest. I'll let her introduce herself. But when it comes to selling on social media, when it comes to positioning yourself on social media to stand out, she's like by far one of the best that I've come across. So I was excited for her to join us today. So we'll kind of go through some things you should be thinking about if you're not getting the level of sales that you want. That's without further ado, I'll bring her up. Let's see.
Hi, everybody. How are you? Lacey, we finally got you on live.
Look, I've been on live. I just took a break, ma'am. But I see how I took a break.
Okay, I can deal with that. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me on your show. I'm just going to call it a show.
Okay, I'll take it.
And for all of the viewers, I need you to comment your city and state. So if you're in Atlanta, put Atlanta. If you're in Baltimore, put B more. But if you're in Texas, put, TX. So like Lacey said, I am a social media brand strategist and sales strategist, okay? Since 2018, I've had a Facebook group, and it grew a lot during the pandemic, right? And primarily, I was marketing jobs to help people find employment. Then I was like, oh, wow, people really don't know how to do resumes. And then I got into the whole social media business, helping different brands sell on social media. So I've done a lot of work behind the scenes with people. So I'm very glad to be joining this live. I'm going to let you start off because, I can talk. Oh, wait a minute. Before you get into it, you see Jay Walker said Louisiana. Can you pull up these comments? Can people see?
Let me see.
Teresa, Mississippi.
Yeah.
Louisiana in the house. Okay. Then let me pull up Mississippi. Now, wait a minute. This is what I need y'all to do. I need y'all to tag somebody. Tag and share. because we're dropping gems. Lacey, how often do people who work behind the scenes of multi-million-dollar brands come on live?
Yeah, not often. Right. Not often at all. And especially to give you this content for free. So, you know, and like I said, my goal is, even if you're in the room and you're interested in becoming a copywriter, maybe you work a traditional 9 to 5 and you're looking to supplement your income, this live will be for you. If you're a business owner and you've already launched or you're thinking about launching, there are going to be some gems dropped in this masterclass as well too, to get you on the right track, especially as we go into 2024.
Let's get it. Let's get it. All right, start us off. First, why aren't people opening up their wallets? What's going on?
Yeah, so I would say the biggest thing, and again, like Cam will give you the perspective from that social media branding side. I'm much more the words person. So what I find a lot of times is there's a lot of great things that people don't know about. And the reason they don't know about it is because if they come across the words that are on your page, or the words that are on your Facebook ad, or the words that are on your social media post, it sounds like everybody else. Right? There's no type of urgency and there's no type of emotional movement in the language that you're creating that make people really think that you have their answer. And so that means you're getting caught in kind of the white noise that's already out there. So if you're a coach, you got to make sure you don't sound like every other coach that's out there, right?
Yeah.
I always talk about, a lot of times people might say, as an example, I'll help you create financial freedom. That's really generic. Bank of America could talk about financial freedom, and then Joe Schmo down the street that's an accountant could talk about financial freedom. Right. So it's not really emotionally driven, versus you using language like being able to send your kids to private school and pay for the full year up front, or being able to go on a 4-week vacation and not have to save a year to do that. Like, now we're still talking about financial freedom, but we're talking about it with tangible things that people really do dream about, they think about, they worry about, right? And so a lot of the times, even if you have the best launch, even if you're discounting your prices, because I see this a lot with people, oh, we'll just cut our prices. That doesn't mean people are going to buy either just because you cut your prices. You got to make sure that what you're selling or what you're putting out there, or what you're launching, is written in a way to lean into what people really want from the heart level, not from the wallet level, but from the soul and the heart level. Are you really speaking to them in a way that no one ever has spoken to them before? And so the last example I'll give you, if you guys have been following my page, you know me personally, you know my world has been consumed with baseball right now. And I'm spending, probably outside of work research, I'm equally spending 10 to 15 hours a week on research for baseball. Whether I'm learning different techniques that Kavanaugh needs to be doing as he grows, different questions I should be asking coaches, it spans the gamut. And of all the sites I've come across, because everybody says they can help your if you're a pitcher, Kev, my son's a pitcher, everyone talks about how they can help your pitcher throw faster or harder, right? And so there's one website that I came across, and I read the entire website. And as someone that writes as a living, I don't typically read an entire website. But the thing that pulled me in is they said you deserve to be on the field, not in the dugout, right? And so if you know my journey, my son is a talented baseball player, but he also has been kind of gotten the short end of the stick in terms of not being able to get the playtime on the field because of favoritism, because of whatever you want to call it. So for me to see that, they could have said, hey, we'll have your child become an elite player or pitch stronger or faster or gain 10 miles per hour in their pitching speed in 30 days, like what all these other hype things say. But for them to say, we'll make sure your child is on the field, not in the dugout, that spoke to me on a soul level, right? Because that's what I'm experiencing. I'm like, this is what I want. They get it. And so what I find when people don't buy, you're not really speaking their language. You're not speaking it in a way that really moves them, where they know that you have their answer. What do you think about that, Kim?
Okay, so first of all, you just dropped something that could change my whole 2024. I need y'all to put in the comments, and I'm getting my nails redone, so if y'all see some, But I need y'all to put in the comments, urgency. Urgency is key. What kind of business do you have? It doesn't solve a problem and it doesn't bring urgency. I want to take it back to the social media side. The whole fear of missing out is real. I've seen top brands say, okay, I saw Grant Cardone. He was selling something in his newsletter for $1. I said, that's crazy. But it was an excellent marketing tactic. What some people do is, he said, just for example, $1 for 7 days. And then it goes back to the original price. You know what that tells me? Okay, let me go ahead and get it now. They can charge $2.97 to my card later. But on the social media side, one thing that I love what LLACEY said is that it spoke to my emotion. Anytime that you are writing copy, anytime that you are posting online, you have to do two things. You have to give urgency, and you also have to strike emotion, because those are two things that are going to drive sales. Another thing that I need to tell you, what basically, what problem are you solving? If you are not solving a problem, I have to ask you, what kind of business do you have? LLACEY, her entire business model is messaging. She can help you get the message out there so it can be sold. What I want to ask you in the comments, Jay Walker, Teresa, Dana. Hi, Dana. Tashonda, Calvin. What business does what problem does your business solve? Teresa, can you bring her comment up, please? She said, let me look. I offer writing services via Just Be a Writer and business services via Premier Service Solutions. I need to see everybody in the comment. What problem does your business solve? Because also another thing is this, LLACEY. When you were reading that entire website, and people, you know, they can look at your URL, they can look at how much time you have spent on these websites. That makes a difference in behavior. Duration, it makes a difference. If I know that my audience, they're only going to spend 2 minutes on a website, that's a long time to be on a website. I have to make the colors appealing. I also have to make the photos appealing. I might need to add some videos and some graphics. So anytime that you are creating a product, or anytime that you're creating your website, you need to make sure that you have urgency and you have emotion. Okay. So we're going to head on to number 2. And I want to see more answers. What problem is your business solving?
Cam came with the teacher side. I'm going to call on you in the back. You can't just ignore me. So we talked about the urgency, right? And so like Cam said, that emotion. So like really, so I give this kind of off the wall example a little bit, and I'll be quick. When I first actually started writing copy, the nice way for me to put it is there's not a lot of people that look like me in the copywriting world, especially if you go the agency route. And so as a junior copywriter, you're typically given the worst projects, the projects either that no one else wants to work on, or statistically the projects that have not done well for the company, but they're still trying to see if there's some glimmer of hope for them to be resurrected. So when I first started writing copy, one of the very first projects I was given was for an erectile dysfunction supplement. And our avatar that I was given was a white male, probably from the South, probably 65 years old and older, and probably a xenophobic, right? Not really open-minded to new cultures and you know, people from other countries, that type of thing, right? All of the things that I'm not. So at the time I was a 26, 25-year-old Black woman from the Northeast, super open-minded, right? And so how do I write copy for someone that I know nothing about? I'll never be a man in this lifetime. So I don't know really from that male perspective what erectile dysfunction means. I know what it means from a mechanical part of the parts don't work biologically, but what does that mean from a psychological or soul level? And so I knew I was given that project because the company believed in the supplement. They just couldn't get it to sell, especially for that demographic. And so I had to really sit and I had to get into the mind and the heart of that person, because demographically, I don't know what I don't know demographically how that feels. So I spent time reading articles, looking at the comments, reading comments on videos. I really sat and tried to embody. I even went on Craigslist and put a post up, and I paid random 65-year-old white guys $20 for 20 minutes just to talk to them about what does sex mean to them, right? And so a lot of people think about, oh, well, you should have wrote it this way, or sheet ripping sex, that type of thing, and lead with that emotion, that part of it. But that's just only one part of it. And what I realized in doing that research and sitting in that space, not being able to sexually perform actually was a sense of them losing their independence. It was the first sign of the end of their life. It was the idea they were no longer attractive. They were no longer dominant in their household. They now actually were looking at themselves as being weak and submissive, right? And so for that demographic, they were typically the breadwinners, right? The man in the household was typically the dominant one. So really putting myself in that cultural perspective, the copy that I wrote, not only did it outperform even the copy that the senior copywriters that thought they were the SHIT had written, it actually quadrupled the sales for the company. And the angle that I took had nothing to do with the mechanical parts of sex, but the headline said, have your wife fall in love with you again, right? That's a very soft type of emotion, right? But that's what these men wanted. They wanted to look attractive in their wife's eyes again. They didn't want to have that look of disgust of, oh my gosh, here we go, you can't perform again. And so I share that just from a sense of, when we think about the emotional side of it, you got the positive piece of pulling those emotions in, but then you also have that negative part of what I say, leaning in the gap, right? Because the next thing that I did after I got past that headline, I then leaned into what was going to happen if they didn't purchase this supplement. Now, it doesn't mean that I know exactly what's going to happen, but I can paint a scenario of, here's what life is probably going to look like if you don't get help, right? You might continue to keep disappointing your wife, right? She may decide to go and fall in love with someone else. She may look at you very differently. She may fall out of love with you. So we talk about building the fear of missing out, but I really want to encourage you to build in the, I call it the negative gap. What is it that they could miss out on, or what will it cost them if they don't move forward with what you offer? And we don't have to paint this doomsday picture, but It is very important though to lean into that idea of what this represents if you don't get it. What do you think about that?
You know what, Lacey? I think you're dropping too many gems.
It's okay. I
think you're dropping too many. Because first of all, you talked about the research of it all. And then second of all, you talked about, listen, I'm going to take a different approach. I see 10 different emails. What is that famous erection medication?
Viagra. Yes.
Okay. Everybody talking about Viagra. You got to get up. You got to get up. But you said, you know what? Do you want to fall in love with your wife again? I have never. They don't want. Most of the time, they just want to get out there and do the Dougie. They're not trying to do that.
But see, that's what you think though. But a 65-year-old man has, especially in that demographic, he's likely been married to his wife for 40 years. That probably was the first love of his life. Like he wants that intimacy again.
Mm-hmm. Look, they all in the comments to Shonda. We let businesses and business owners get time. Dion, that's powerful. Dana, that's so good. Let Lacey drop them. LOL. But you know what? Here's the thing though, because I'm gonna come on the social media side. When we do some content creation, now all of our commercials or all of our social media videos, they don't have to look like the status quo.
Right.
So now we can bring in a husband and a wife, and they're about to lay down, and they're in their 60s, and he takes the medication, or he takes whatever you want to call it, before bed, and now he's able to please his wife, and now his wife is satisfied. Rather than taking a different approach and maybe somebody at the club, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I really like how somebody put in the comments research. Another reason why a lot of people are not purchasing your product is because you are not researching your target audience. You don't do any research on your customer. You just say, hey, I have this product. I know it can sell. I've sold it 2 or 3 times. I posted it on social media. Now, boom, where my sales at? And it doesn't work like that. I'm going to drop another gem. What Facebook groups are you in? I've had my Facebook group since 2018, and there have been people, I mean, like literally all over, who said, can I post? Can I post? And I'm very particular about who I let post in that group, because why? That shows that I'm endorsing them. So if you get in a Facebook group that has a good following, a loyal following, let's just say, Atlanta entrepreneurs and influencers, and they have about 50,000 people in the Facebook group, and you post in there, that's free marketing most of the time. So now it's paid. But you have to look at, is that your audience? So Dana, I know that you do skincare. You might need to go to some pop-up shops for a lot of women who are looking for skincare, for looking for hair and beauty. There was another young lady, Calvin, relationship talk. He said he helps people resolve conflict in their relationships. Do you know how many people would pay you today? Do you do matchmaking? So what I'm saying is that anytime that you are basically creating content on social media, I want you to take a different approach, because if you see everybody doing the same thing, if you see, 10 different brands with the same commercial, I'm going to turn my head. Let me go to this third point, because I'm reading off of a sheet. But don't you have something coming out called the splash effect?
Yeah, so this is kind of a teaser conversation because I know I typically have a lot of people that slide in my DMs that are like, "Hey, can you look at this? Can you give me feedback? I launched this, it's not getting the traction, or I launched this last year and it was successful, but I'm launching it this year and I'm not getting the same results." So I get a lot of questions either about people that have already launched and they want me to kind of optimize or go back and look at what they've done and see how we can do it in a different way. Or I also equally have a large number of business owners that are ready to launch, especially at the top of 2024, and they're not sure the right way to splash into the market, so to speak. So I created and I'll kind of give a little teaser here, but you got to hang on for like another 10 minutes and I'll give you kind of more specific details. But I wanted to create a safe container where if you've already launched or you're going to launch, where we can literally kind of workshop all the pieces of your launch so that way when you do make a splash in the market or a reemergence in the market, you have all the pieces in a way that really authentically represents your brand and you don't have to feel like you're regurgitating everybody else's stuff, right? And so that's going to be a unique opportunity that's going to be happening the week of Christmas. So not on Christmas Day, obviously, but the 26th of the day after. But I'll give you more details than that. I don't want to kind of derail us from the conversation that we're going in terms of why customers may not be buying from you. But if you're sitting in this space where you're like, hey, I've tried a lot of things before, they haven't really gotten me where I wanted to go, or I'm excited for another thing that I'm launching in my business, or I'm launching my business for the first time, this is going to be something you want to lean in on that I'll kind of dive into a little deeper in about 10 minutes. But before we do that, I'll jump into, or did you want to jump into the next point, Cam, or I can kind of keep flowing?
Well, you know what? We talk about 5 reasons why people don't buy. I need you to drop both of the links that you have because they don't know. That's what I'm about to talk about. They don't know. So if you can, for me, Teacher LLACEY,
okay,
please drop both of your splash effect links because I'm going to tell you something. In 2024, there's going to be a lot of opportunity. The world is yours. The mistakes that I've seen with business owners with 2023, a lot of people, they say, hey, can you look at my social media? Hey, I need to schedule a strategy session with you. This is very disheartening, but people don't know who you are or they don't know about your product. What do I mean by that? So, for example, you could have this website. Let's use Dana, for example. She has amazing skincare. I would ask Dana, how many website visitors have came to your site in the last month? Let's just say, for example, 2,000 came. My next question is, how many people have purchased? Well, let's just say, for example, only 20 people have purchased. So why is the conversion rate 20 and 2,000 people have came? I know some people who have literally 75 people come to their site and 60 people buy. When you are creating a website and when you are posting on social media, you have to put your product, your idea, your service in the right hands and let the right eyeballs see it. Most of the time when people come to your site, they are confused. You have in your bio that you're doing 10 different things. You do hair, you do, let's just say, for example, skincare, not saying Dana does this. You sell water bottles and then you make handbags. But the ad that I saw was that you were an esthetician. So in 2024, I really want everybody here to get clear on what is their most valuable and profitable skill. And I want you to focus in on that. You can have multiple streams of income, but when we come on your website, we should know that you are doing one thing, that you're not all over the place. Okay? So, LLACEY, let me lean on you for this one. For mistakes that people make, especially on the website, what are some that you see?
Well, I think like you said, there might be lots of different non-related services, what feel like non-related services. So I always tell people, especially for multi-passionate people, there are things that we all are equally interested in and capable of doing. Is it really takes some time to do self-reflection and figure out what the unifying theme is, right? And so as a quick example, my undergrad degree is actually in forensic science. I wanted to be a medical examiner, but obviously I became a copywriter. And so when I really got still with it, and the story that I tell when I used to do interviews for jobs and things, when I take people through my academic path is it can feel very all over the place. But the unifying theme that I've always lived through is giving people a voice, right? And so when I wanted to be a medical examiner, that's exactly what I wanted to do. I wanted to solve crimes and give the victims a voice. When I started doing tutoring, same idea. I worked with kids that had learning disabilities. I wanted to give them a voice in the classroom or let them know that they were just as valuable. And now as a copywriter, I want to give business owners and now, rising copywriters a voice in this world to be able to make an impact. And so if you are in that space where your website looks like a menu at a diner, they got like 17 or 700 different things on it, really get clear on what is the unifying message or theme that you bring to the table. And now those services just become part of that theme, right? So you could imagine coming to a website and I say, as your just very rough example, giving a voice to the voiceless, right? And now my services could be, forensic things or academic tutoring or writing as a healing method, right? In that case, now it gets packaged in a way that makes more sense for then people that land on your website to then choose their own adventure that way.
Ooh, I see Danielle says, speak and teach, Lacey. If you all are liking this, I don't know too many people who just get on live and say, oh, let me give you some gold. Let me help you make some money. If you are liking this, I need you to put some emojis in the comments for me, because we are really giving you all the gems that you need to be successful. The first quarter of 2024, it is going to solely depend on, number one, your strategy and all of these master classes, all of these lives, these clubhouse discussion rooms that you have been a part of. You all have the information. We're talking to you about messaging. We're talking to you about take your content into a different direction. We're also talking to you about when people get on your social media platforms, we need to understand, what are you doing? I don't want you all over the place this year. Another thing that we need to talk about too, Lacey, because we in point number 4, okay? But your marketing channels are slim. Now, do you want to talk about that? Or do you want me to?
That's your lane. Look, I'm old. I'm only on Facebook, so I'm gonna leave that to you.
You are not old, girl. Let's talk about social media channels. In the comments, tell me, what is your favorite social media channel? Is it Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok? Just put it in the comments. I'm going to tell you this. Most of the time when we talk about why a lot of people, they don't know you, it's because you're not visible. Now, I am of the school of thought that you don't need to be on every single platform, but you do need to diversify your channels. What do I mean by that? Some people, they solely focus on Facebook, but there's an entire audience on YouTube. If you already have about 10,000 followers on Facebook, you can go ahead and start building a brand on YouTube. That way you're able to get that YouTube audience to purchase your product. YouTube lives are very big. It's almost like watching, an entire TV show. Another thing, we talk about diversifying your social media channels. Everything that works on Facebook, guess what? It doesn't work on other platforms. Let me give you an example. If you make a regular Facebook post, I saw Lacey, she posted something of her kid put her head back like this. I almost said, are you all right? But I didn't want to say that.
No, look, Warrior was eating her chocolate, ma'am, and it was good. She had to throw her head back.
She was just like this. Now, you can post that on Facebook, but would you post that on LinkedIn, Lacey?
No.
Why? Because we also have to look at the audience. The audience there on LinkedIn is more corporate professionals. The audience on TikTok, that's that 18 to 25 generation. You can get on there with a dance video and still talk about HR policies, and mandates. But you have to know your audience. So for all of my people, especially for my virtual assistants, my copywriters, I want to ask you, where are your clients at? Dana, the only reason I'm pulling up Dana is because I know her. You need to be on TikTok. The beauty industry is popping. I'm back on Snapchat. I made a sale on my social media class on Snapchat. I was just talking about it. Either I had a bonnet on my hair or something. I was looking crazy.
She said a bonnet.
The guy gonna message me and say, I want to know about the class. I sent him the link. He purchased. He was there in the morning on Saturday. Okay, and just low key, Snapchat numbers, they jumping. So I just want to say that. Jumping means it's going well over there. So
no, but listen,
so
don't sleep on LinkedIn too. I mean, last year I made almost $30,000 on LinkedIn. And not to give the whole strategy away that I used, but I will encourage you to think creatively, right? So a lot of times we're always trying to go after our customer or our ideal client, right? Directly. I want you to think about, who is your ideal customer already using? Who do they already know, like, and trust in terms of vendors that you might be able to create a backdoor strategy? And if you scroll on my page enough on Facebook, you'll find my whole LinkedIn training that I did probably about a year ago. But I took a backdoor strategy where I wasn't actually going after business owners. I was going after all those vendors they probably already use, and those vendors who already know that they need a copywriter. Because the best way for me, especially when I was doing academic tutoring, I never had to market. I had everything word of mouth for 12 years. And the way I was able to do that was to get people to do word of mouth referrals. So if you can figure out a way to find who your ideal client is already hooked in with and
right.
get them to refer you, then it's gold. You don't have to do all that convincing to get them to buy from you.
No, I agree. Do you know I have a website called dcowmember.com. I created the whole website. I did it about 2 years ago. And by the grace of God, you know, when I started it, most of the traffic came from my Facebook page, but a lot of the traffic from my Facebook group, y'all, referrals. Hey, I got a job here. Hey, I got connected with this news director here. And now, because we're in this freelancer economy, there are so many people who are looking for work, so many people who they've started their quote unquote side hustles. Now they're turning into, big businesses, that they're looking for a VA. So I will say this to you: in 2024, you need a good strategy. Y'all, I don't need to see y'all at the same place you were last year. You got too much knowledge. Am I right, Lacey?
No, for real. Yeah.
You don't need to come to me with the same questions. Your question needs to be now, okay, Kamara, in quarter one, I made X amount. Now, in quarter two, this is how much I'm trying to make. We have about 3 more weeks until the end of the year is over, and you need a good plan. You can't just say, all right, I'm just going to post this today. I hope I got my brownie points. Brownie points for what? You ain't make no sales. Right. It didn't do well.
No, for real. But that takes us kind of to our last point here of what is it that our customers are really telling us when they don't buy? So we talked about, maybe there's no urgency. They're telling us, you didn't paint a good enough picture for me to want to buy because I can come back to this later. Or you're not conveying to me that you have the solution that I'm looking for, right? Because you sound like everybody else. Then we talked about, there's no emotion to really make them want to buy or make them feel good about buying, right? That's the other thing. We want people to feel good about swiping their card. We don't want them to feel like, oh, I made a mistake. But for me, the biggest thing that I look at when people don't buy is authenticity. Mm-hmm. Am I, as the business owner, being as authentic and vulnerable, is the other word, that I can be in my copy, right? And so part of what I find, especially in the coaching space, not to call anybody out, is that a lot of times they paint this rosy picture, right? I had a problem, I came up with this solution, and now everything's great, right? There's no bumps in the road. And so if we think about, especially for those people that might be watching this that are in the financial space, talking about money and finances is probably one of the most gut-wrenching. You're afraid people are going to point fingers at you. I mean, I've had so many times that I've scheduled appointments for people to do my whole estate with my kids, and then I don't do it. Why? Because I'm like, oh, they're going to point at me like, why don't you have more saved for retirement? Or why don't you do that? It feels very restricting when you're talking about finances. And there's a host of other topics, right? If you're talking about trauma, right? There are things that we know we need to address, but it just doesn't feel good. And so if I go to somebody's website and I'm looking for someone from a financial perspective to help me with my finances or budgeting, I actually don't want to hear that you had this easy road. Because now it makes me feel like you're going to really judge me when you see my bank account or when you see my spending or how much I'm not saving. Like, I feel judged. Versus if you actually shared a story where maybe you were bankrupt or you came from a single parent family where, you were the first year generation to make 6 figures. Like, I actually want to know the vulnerable sides of you, because now that gives me permission as your ideal client to not have everything okay to come to you, right? And so I always joke, people are like, oh, you need to go back to the gym. People will say, oh, well, I need to work out first before I can go to the gym. Or in my case, I need to clean my house first before I have a cleaner come. There are a lot of your clients that are sitting there in that space. They think they got to do something else before they're even ready for you. And they think that because you're putting forth this very rosy picture, Did they think that you're too high up or you're too unattainable to them? And it doesn't mean that you need to air all your dirty laundry out. I mean, I'm of a proponent that for Facebook or for any platform, when you share from an authentic space, you actually allow people the opportunity to connect with you on a human level. And for a lot of my posts that don't even have anything to do with selling anything, because I don't typically sell on my page, I actually get the most engagement, or I get the most people slide in my DMs wanting to hire me when I share a post about being depressed or life, really lifing, and I'm being a single mom. Those are the posts that actually drive the most traffic to me, because people see the sense of vulnerability and authenticity. And now I'm giving them the permission to come to me and work with me, no matter how chaotic their business might be or how chaotic their messaging might be, right? I'm not requiring them to be perfect in order to work with me. So I just want to always, and for me, like my guiding word for my life is authenticity. When I don't feel like I can be authentic, I don't really like to be in those spaces. And so I want to challenge you, like, are you really showing up in an authentic way with your messaging or your posting or your website? Are you telling your story in a way that makes people connect with you? Not just where you are now, but where you came from. Like, are you sharing those connecting points? Are you allowing people the permission to not be perfect before they come to you and they swipe their card? All right, that's my piece.
Ooh, wait a minute. So basically, you telling me I need to tell a little bit about my story, in order to draw the right audience.
Okay? Yeah, because how am I going to know if I know, like, and trust you if I don't know you? Right?
No, so, I'm going to give you a good example. Grant Cardone, he talked about how he was in the unemployment line in his 20s. And a guy, tapped him, that was from his neighborhood, and say, hey, you need to leave. He was either in the unemployment line or he was in the food line. And I thought that was very strategic because, during the pandemic and during layoffs, a lot of people could resonate with that. So now he's selling a course, teaching you how to be a sales agent. And for a lot of people who was in that situation, I could definitely see them purchasing that. Because they're like, dang, like that's their story right now too. Another person is Mark Cuban. He talked about, like, when he was first getting out of school, he just didn't know what to do. He was out there in Texas, and then boom, he just started learning, software engineering and those kind of things. So I said, wow, he was trying to restructure his life. He found a new skill that kind of seems like a lot of people, what they're going through now. Mm-hmm. And I said, they're telling these stories, but strategically. And now they're also able to make a profit from it. Is that your son, Kavanaugh? Is he telling you to come on?
No.
Oh. I saw you look to the side.
No, he's being patient. I promised him I would take him to the batting cage.
Okay. So I will tell you this: in 2024, the professional word is authentic, but you need to determine how you're going to be authentic on social media. Mm-hmm. Go ahead and put some boundaries. So you know what? I don't want to talk about this. I don't want to talk about that. But you know what? These are some things that we can post about. It's also about the emotion. What emotion are you pulling? This also is going to pull your right audience. Dana, again, I'm pulling up Dana only because I know her. If you had a lot of acne and you start posting different TikToks about, before my face looked like this, I had blemishes here, I had things on my back here, but I started using this cream, I started mixing things in my kitchen, and now boom, now my face is clear. And now men ain't coming up to me in the grocery store trying to holler. I'll buy it today. I will buy it today. Do you hear me? So we love to see before and afters. We love social proof, testimonials, and then tell your story. Now, before we get out of here, a lot of you all have already talked to us about your businesses in the comments. Now, Lacey is doing a splash effect masterclass, right?
Yes.
Talk to us about the Splash Effect Masterclass, the general admission, the VIP. Everybody here, you need to go ahead and be a part of it if you want to make money in 2024.
So I will say this, just to add a little bit of clarity. If you joined me on my masterclass last Wednesday, where you were interested in breaking into the world of copywriting, I kind of gave you two separate offers there to be able to partner with me one-on-one to learn how to become a copywriter. I've had some business owners kind of raise their hand in that for that offer as well, where we'll work kind of one-on-one, but that's really for the ground level if you're looking to build and learn the ins and outs of copy. For this, we're kind of jumping in like head first in your launch, right? So this The splash effect is more so for people that are either interested in learning the intricate parts of a launch. Because, hey, this is where I've kind of cut my teeth over the past 3 years, is helping countless people, countless businesses either launch for the first time, launch a new product or service, and sell out. So for this particular opportunity that we're talking about here, is this going to go down on Tuesday, December 26th, 7:30 to 9:30 Eastern. So it's a 2-hour masterclass. You're going to get the principles of what you need, like not even just the principles, but the specific checklist of what you need to make sure you have done and ready to go for a launch. Because what I see a lot of times is people will have the website, but they don't have the email nurture sequence. They don't have the social media posts. They don't have the text messages. They don't have the sequence once people buy to nurture them to buy again, right? So there's a whole entire process in terms of collateral and things you want to have in place before you launch to make sure you're as effective as possible, right? And so this masterclass really is going to walk you through all those key principles so that you leave with an entire checklist of this is what I know I need for my launch, and this is who I can leverage in terms of a resource to make sure I'm doing it the right way. That's for the general admission.
Pause. That's a lot of information. Now I come from the TV, TikTok, short 90-second, gangster hit it, quit it type world.
Ma'am.
So, and when I mean that, I just mean short videos, y'all. I ain't talking about nothing else. So when we talk about the general admission, how long is this session going to be?
Yeah, so this is a 2-hour session where we literally will go through the principles and the specific pieces that you need to have created for a highly effective launch.
Okay. So talk to us now about the VIP, because the VIP, you're going to break it down one-on-one, right?
Right. So the idea is, I know there's a lot of people in this community that either maybe you're already creating pieces for your launch and you haven't launched yet, and you want eyes on the things you've already created to get feedback. Or maybe you've already launched this year in 2023 and you haven't gotten the traction that you wanted to get. And you want, again, another set of eyes, both from the social media perspective from Cam, and then also from the copy perspective from me, to be able to really get, all eyes on what you've created and how can we elevate it so that when you relaunch in 2024, you're relaunching more powerfully. So for the VIP folks, not only do you get the initial 2-hour session where we go through checklist by checklist or step by step of what you need, the VIP session is going to go deeper, where you actually will then be able to have us give you direct feedback on what you've already created and give you specific strategies to elevate what you've already created. And since you guys are rocking with me today on a Thursday, for the VIP admission price, you also get to bring a business buddy. So whether
whoa.
Let me finish, Cam. Hold up. So whether it's a business buddy, right? So maybe you have somebody on your team. So maybe you have someone that's going to be the executor on the team. You can have them join you in the VIP session. Or you can just go big and be very generous in this holiday season and invite another business owner with you to that VIP session so they can get just as many gems as you do. So you kind of get a 2 for the price of 1 when you upgrade to that VIP level.
Wait a minute. I'm going to let you finish like Kanye West. But I'm trying to figure out. You're talking about they can bring a buddy.
Look, I listen. Yeah, well, I will say this. I'm all about community, right? So not just you learning something, but I really do. My mission in life is really to demystify copywriting. I don't want people to be like, oh, I'm stressing out about what I'm going to write. That my goal, I want to make sure my legacy is I've diversified copywriting. So we got more Black and brown people and women and all types of other, genres of people that are copywriters. But I also want to make sure that people feel empowered to be able to write the words that they know that the world needs to read. And so for those that rocked with me last Wednesday, when we were talking about how to enter the world of copywriting, I gave them an amazing opportunity to not just work with me on a private level, but to bring their entire family. So I'm super excited to have multiple people that are like, hey, I signed up with you and me and my son are going to do it. We're going to learn how to become a copywriter, or me and my 2 daughters are going to do it. So I'm really all about not just you as the individual person. I'm not doing this to make money. I'm doing this to spread knowledge. Now I need you to make an investment so you have skin in the game. But the idea is, if you upgraded that VIP level and you're serious about taking your launch to the next level, you're serious about writing things the right way, I want to reward you in that sense to either bring in someone from your team that can hold you accountable to getting those things done, or allow you to pass that forward and bless another business owner in your community to be able to get that same level of access.
All right. So while you drop the link in the comments You're about to drop the general admission, and then you're going to drop the VIP admission.
Right.
I want to tell you all this. Her copywriting masterclass that she did, I saw all those comments. How many people did you have in that class?
I had 55.
She had 55 people in that copywriting class. When I tell you, just based on the comments and just me knowing LLACEY, it's phenomenal. Okay. I even sent somebody to that class. I paid for their ticket and I sent somebody to that class. So now you're doing a master class on basically how to launch or how to relaunch for 2024. Look. I need all of you all to get the general or the VIP admission. Correct me if I'm wrong. If everybody who listens to this live, if they get the VIP admission, they also get to bring another business buddy, correct?
Yes.
But if they get general, it's only them.
Just for them. Yep.
Okay. So let me also break down some things from a social media end. Your copywriting and your social media in 2024 is going to go hand in hand. If you don't have social media, you don't have a brand. And I'm just going to be honest with you. How are we going to know who you are? I'm going to tell you something. One thing that I truly hate, is that when I see people just come out on the scenes only when they're trying to sell something. It's this guy on my timeline. Y'all, I don't see him only when he about to sell something. This book that he been trying to sell for over a year. Now, granted, he probably gets some sales, but he don't get a lot. But again, if he would just give us some authentic content, you don't have to show us everything about your life. But if you will also give us a peek into some value, then maybe I can purchase. But if every post you're doing is buy this, purchase this, do this, you don't even give me any quotes, or you don't even give me any value on why your book is good. So let me tell you something. Posting is not marketing. I'm going to say it one more time. Posting is not marketing, even if you have a strong audience. Storytelling is marketing. I've been a journalist since high school. And there have been a lot of bloggers, influencers now who've told your story in 90 seconds or less, getting paid for it like crazy. So in that course that is called the Splash Effect, which I think is a wonderful name, but you're going to make a splash into 2024 with the correct writing and also what you need to do on social media. Let me see what Danielle said. Can you pull up Danielle's comment, please? It says that class last week was top tier, second to none. White glove knowledge, powerhouse session. White glove? Well, give me my white glove. Well worth the time and money. LLACEY Simmons over deliver and beyond. So if you are ready to make some money in 2024, I need all of you all to put in the comments 2024. I'll say it one more time, 2024. Because the world is yours. Now, before we get out of here, LLACEY, I want you to drop one more gem, because I think we've dropped a lot. You especially dropped, a masterclass, for real, for real. But one more thing they need to be reminded of when they're doing their messaging.
So one more gem. I think the biggest thing really is to speak your ideal client's language. So there's a lot of people, especially if you're a practitioner where you have a lot of expertise, right? You come from a very technical background. There's a lot of times where we overspeak, right? We're talking up here, but our person is down here. And I don't mean that from an intelligence perspective, but I mean that more so from like a being able to consume perspective. And so a lot of times I'll read something on a landing page or on a website and I'll say, okay, I understand what this means because I read a lot of copy, but I'll say, would your person know what this means? They're like, I don't know. Well, if you say, I don't know, that means they're not going to read it, right? They're going to skip over it. They're not going to think that this is for them. And so one of the things that I always do to make sure I'm using my ideal person's language is I will actually go back and I will talk to people that have worked with them before, whether they were previous customers that they paid and actually worked with them, or maybe they did like a volunteer type thing or gave their services away for free. But I will always go back to them. And a lot of times business owners are not going back to people that they work with. And this is one question you should always ask. What is it that you got from me that you didn't anticipate? Right? And listen to what they're saying. Use that language, because that language then can now become copy. So as an example, when I used to tutor, I thought people came to me because I did math and science tutoring and they could get 2 subjects for the price of 1. But when I went back and I asked them that question, what is it that you got from me that you didn't expect? It had nothing to do with academics. It had nothing to do with my GPA in college, nothing to do with all the superficial things that I thought of why people came to me. What they all consistently said in some version or another is you gave our kids a safe space to fail. So when I took that language and that's what I use in my posts or that's what I use on my flyers, sold out. And I only had to market for 6 months and I had a 12-year academic tutoring career where I never had to market again. And so I want us, when we're looking at, and we'll go through this when you join us in the splash effect, but I want us to get really, really good at listening to our people and making sure we're using their language, right? Even down to sometimes the best copy I write comes verbatim from something that someone's former client said, or comes straight out of a testimonial. Because chances are, if that's what resonated with them and that's the language they're putting around what you offer, that language is going to pull in so many other people, because we don't need to be over the top. We don't need to be PhD level writers to be an effective copywriter. But what we do need to do is know how to connect with people on a way that makes sense to them and on a way that uses the language that they already can resonate with.
Yeah, and let me end with this. Your testimonials are gold. For my people who you haven't sold anything yet, what I want you to do is you're going to, if it's a young lady, I think Tashonda, you have a virtual assistant business. I want you, okay, if you don't have any clients right now, to get somebody, work for a LLACEY for about 3 months. Ask her what you did well, what you need to improve on, and some action items. And then use her as a testimonial. For my people who are in basically that beta stage, you can get testimonials by, what do they call it when you exchange services?
Bartering.
That's an excellent way to get testimonials. So nobody here is in lack. I can tell you that right now. There's almost 8 million people on social media, probably 8 billion. There is one person who will purchase your product. It's one. Out of all the people on social media, you scrolling 24/7, you scrolling looking at these reels, and you ain't posted nothing yet. You have not sat down and said, you know what? I'm going to post 5 good videos and I'm going to boost one of these posts. It's probably going to give me 50,000. I'm going to take that post. They're going to have a link to it and it's going to go directly to my website. And the post is not going to be, oh, look at me, watch me do this. No, it needs to be storytelling. It needs to be, hey, I'm sitting down here. This live that we're doing could be an excellent boost on social media for the splash effect. I'm giving you too many gems. So if you are coming to the splash effect course, I want you to put in the comments coming, because when does the deadline? When's the last day to register?
So the last day is going to be Monday. So Monday the 11th is kind of a quick turnaround because we want to know who's coming so that we can prepare, so that we can over deliver on our promise of making sure that you leave that session with exactly what you need to launch, or with the exact strategies you need to implement to relaunch.
One more time. If you are coming, she says she is closing the splash effect because it's going to go quick. You're only going to allow 50 people. You want to have it small because you want to make sure that, it's an intimate group. But if you are coming, I need you to comment coming. Danielle says she's coming. I see y'all coming. But also payment plans. Do you allow payment plans for the VIP?
Yeah, so we can work that out. If you are someone that needs some more flexibility, just send me a DM and we'll kind of do that offline. But otherwise, the 2 price points are $127 for general admission, $237 for VIP. But you get that bring a friend. So you could even go half on that price if you want to with a friend, or you could pay for it outright and kind of gift someone that free admission to come join you in VIP.
Mandolin. Hi, Mandolin. Tasha, Felicia, coming. Dion, she said, yes, I use language from prospects in my DMs. They give me the perfect words to describe their pain points. Excellent. Well, I'm going to tell y'all this. We've been on since 7 o'clock, right?
Yeah.
And it's 7:55.
Yes.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 people already said they're coming. More people are. We have given y'all more than what you have bargained for. Now, I'm going to give you a social selling tip, Lacey. I need you to put your splash effect links in your caption.
No, I got you. I got you. Listen, listen. Look, they call us geriatric millennials. So for the 80 babies represent, look, I got it. Just give me a
80s
second.
baby?
Yes. I can't do too many things at once. I'm starting to realize I'm becoming my mom, where I'm like, where that at? Where did that go? But I got you. I got you, Cam.
All right. Because I'm watching y'all like a hawk. All right. It has been amazing. Love you guys. We will see y'all later. And the splash effect, it is Tuesday, December 26th, right?
Yes, 7:30.
So we're giving y'all a Christmas present.
Right. Exactly. Listen, no, seriously, because I'm telling you, January, you want to make sure you have your stuff ready to go. Because I get contacted by a lot of businesses in January, and by then I'm saying you're kind of too late, right? A lot of people have already been prepping in November to be ready to make sure their stuff is ready to go as soon as January 1st hits.
Mm-hmm. Y'all, so 4 days to the class, you get to make your changes. We see all y'all that's coming, and we will talk to y'all soon. Love y'all. But wait. I'm sorry. One question. Will launch be covered in copyright in 6-week class? Can you pull up her question?
Yep. If you've already raised your hand to do either the 4 or the 6 week with me, don't worry about it. We'll cover all those strategies. But that was only for people that attended last Wednesday's masterclass. So I know there's quite a few people that are watching this live that did not attend last week Wednesday's class. So that offers something that's separate.
Ooh, 2024 coming in hot. Any more questions before we leave? Okay, cool beans. Got it. All right, we love y'all. We'll talk to y'all later. Any questions? DM Lacey. Okay.
Thank you, Kate.
Bye. Bye.